Welcome back to another explainer. I'm so glad you're here today because we're taking something that usually sounds, well, kind of dry, international quality standards, and we're decoding it into a dynamic, totally actionable blueprint for bottom-line business success. If you've ever wondered how a quality management system, or a QMS, actually translates into real-world, tangible results, you are in exactly the right place.
So, what really separates a good business from a consistently great one? It's a massive question, right? To answer it, we actually need to totally redefine our understanding of quality. We aren't just talking about a product that turns on when you hit the power switch. Under the ISO framework we're looking at today, quality is an entire organizational culture. It's a culture that drives behaviors and processes to consistently deliver real value, which profoundly impacts both your reputation and, yep, your financial bottom line.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. Here's what we're looking at. 1. The blueprint for success. 2. Core, customers and leadership. 3. Engine, people and processes. 4. Compass, evidence and improvement. 5. Managing essential relationships. And finally, 6. The living, adapting system. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the blueprint for success, understanding the foundation.
Look, to get those long-lasting business results, you absolutely cannot just rely on luck. You need a formal framework. Let's look at the official ISO 9000 definition of a quality management system because literally every word here matters. A QMS is not just a stack of paperwork, it's the actual day-to-day activities where you pinpoint your objectives and figure out the exact processes and resources you need to hit them. It's really about optimizing what you have to provide maximum value to everyone involved. It's heavily focused on driving those desired business results.
But to build that system, you have to understand your environment, or what the standards call the context of an organization. Let's demystify that jargon real quick. Basically, it means looking inward at your internal culture, your values, your performance, and then balancing that against external market risks. Think things like technological shifts, legal changes, and what your competitors are doing. Grasping this dual context is step 1 for ensuring your business actually survives and thrives in our super fast-paced world.
Which brings us to this massive number right here, 7. 7 represents the core quality management principles laid out in the ISO standards. If you're out there struggling with operational inconsistency, these 7 principles form the ultimate evidence-backed solution. So let's break them down categorically. Moving on to Section 2, Core, Customers and Leadership.
Principle 1 is customer focus, and this brilliantly illustrates how focusing on quality isn't just some abstract feel-good ideal. Striving to exceed customer expectations directly drives tangible business results. We're talking about increased customer value leading to serious repeat business, which directly expands your customer base and, you guessed it, increases your revenue and market share. When you truly understand current and future customer needs, you lock in sustained success. It's a real game changer.
Principle 2 is leadership. Because let's face it, you cannot satisfy those customers if your own house is divided. Strong leadership benefits the business by creating incredible coordination and efficiency across the board. Leaders establish that unity of purpose you need to align your resources and hit those customer-focused goals we just talked about. They smash those rigid departmental silos, vastly improving the organization's overall capability to actually deliver concrete results.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds our engine, people and processes.
Principle 3 is the engagement of people. The source material is super clear here. People are your most essential resources. You could literally have the best strategy in the world, but your performance depends entirely on how your people behave within your system. By empowering your team and respecting people at all levels, their engagement directly boosts trust, collaboration, and their ability to create value for the business. They become active, enthusiastically involved in improving how things get done.
And how exactly do those empowered people execute their tasks? That's Principle 4, the process approach. A QMS is essentially a web of interrelated processes. Managing these processes, not as isolated one-off tasks, but as a coherent system, drastically reduces cross-functional barriers. The major takeaway here is that an optimized process approach produces consistent, totally predictable business outcomes, all while making the most efficient use of your resources.
Next up, Section 4, Compass, Evidence and Improvement.
These are the absolutely crucial elements of the framework that sustain your success over the long haul by relying on hard data and continuous strategic tweaks. Principle 5 is improvement. Successful organizations have an ongoing, relentless focus on getting better. And this isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about enhancing your ability to react to sudden internal or external risks. It's about investigating the actual root causes instead of just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms, acting as a massive drive for innovation within your market.
And Principle 6 ties right into that: evidence-based decision-making. Look, decision-making is always going to involve some level of uncertainty and complexity, right? But relying on facts, evidence, and rigorous data analysis leads to far greater objectivity. It allows you to confidently challenge subjective opinions and drastically improves your operational effectiveness and efficiency. It basically takes the guesswork out of your growth strategy.
Moving right along to Section 5, Managing Essential Relationships.
Now, we're stepping outside the internal walls of the business to look at the final piece of our 7-principle framework. Principle 7 is relationship management. So the crucial point here is that you do not operate in a vacuum. Your relevant interested parties, like your suppliers, your partners, your investors, they heavily influence your performance. By actively managing relationships with these provider networks, you create shared value and ensure a highly stable, resilient supply chain that keeps your product or service flowing without a hitch.
And finally, Section 6, the Living Adapting System.
This is where we synthesize all 7 of these principles into one incredibly powerful operational philosophy. Now, what's really fascinating about this slide is a specific quote straight from the ISO 9000 text. They explicitly compare organizations to humans as a living and learning social organism. I absolutely love this metaphor. A true QMS recognizes that you can't predetermine every single activity. By integrating leadership, process, data, and people, your business literally becomes a flexible, adaptable organism capable of breakthrough improvements even in a super complex environment.
Now, I know that sounds highly organic and maybe a little abstract, but I assure you, it is fully structural. The ISO 9001 framework provides the exact, rigorous, international requirements you need to formally map out, build, and audit this cohesive dynamic system. Think of it as giving you the structural scaffolding so that your living organism can thrive and grow without just falling apart. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. We know the context of modern business is defined by accelerated change and incredibly complex risks. But now, you have the blueprint. You know the 7 principles. So how will you take these actionable concepts and evolve your own organization's living system to not just survive, but to scale, thrive, and achieve consistently great results? Think about it, start applying it, and I'll see you in the next explainer.